Ahoy!
Who's ranked, who's real, who's built to last, who got exposed, who's moving fast. From the HBCU pride to the Power 5, let's we talk football every week, every night. Fans in the stands, drums on go, lights on bright, and the crowd moves slow. Big hits, ball picks, everybody knows. Daniel Roundtree got the football show.
I am Daniel Roundtree. This is the Daniel Roundtree College Football Show. Listen, did you know that today is a new day? That means it is a good day to talk college football. This is what we're doing here at the show today. We've got a really good episode. I appreciate you tuning in because today we are talking college football hot takes. The thing with hot takes is it could happen, it could not happen. It's not a prediction. I do want to say that, but with college football hot takes, you never know what it really looks like. So let's get right into it. Let's save all the semantics and jump into it. Could you imagine a world? Just imagine it right now. Go with me. We're at the end of the season. We're looking at the Southeastern Conference race specifically. And could you imagine a world where Ole Miss finishes higher than LSU in the SEC and has a higher and better chance at getting into the college football playoff? Could you imagine that happening? Listen, I'm not saying for sure that it is going to happen, but you look at what Ole Miss has, what they have coming back in Trinidad Chamberlain, and obviously Kyron Lacey. They're going to be able to run the ball. They've always been able to pass the ball, especially under Lane Kiffin. Could you imagine if not only Ole Miss beats LSU when LSU comes to town and plays the Rebels in their home stadium, that they end up having a better season than Lane? What's that fallout going to look like? What's it going to feel like? I don't know. You tell me. Drop a comment if you think this is plausible or if there's no chance that this is going to happen. Please just tell me plausible for Ole Miss. That's a big possibility, or no chance. Just put no chance in the comments. No chance that Ole Miss is going to have a better season than LSU. Let's go over to the Big Ten. Let's talk a little bit Michigan football. Kyle Whittingham. Imagine this. Kyle Whittingham is going to win 10 games in his first year at Michigan with those Wolverines. Is that a possibility? Is that something you guys think could really happen? Or am I smoking something crazy right now? Am I just not seeing what it is? I will tell you, don't believe all these reports. Don't believe everything you read when we talk about Bryce Underwood and his inability to throw the football. Kyle Whittingham has got the best out of running quarterbacks for years and years to come at the University of Utah, which is not a blue blood. Listen, Utah's a good school. They've had a winning history, but you don't see Utah in the same light as you see Ohio State or Michigan or Oregon. That's why he left Utah after retiring and went to Michigan. This hot take is a big hot one because it depends on the defense, right? It depends on a lot of things that happen. Michigan has a tough schedule. They play Oklahoma out of conference, but what if Kyle Whittingham wins 10 games or more year one at Michigan? I'm not even going to say it. I'm not going to say Ohio State is one of those 10 wins, but what if? What if? Here's another hot take. Alabama wins less than 10 games. Listen, I'm a big Kalen DeBoer fan. I like what Kalen's done. It's hard to follow a legend like Nick Saban. I've said it on other videos. But you look at this Alabama schedule and you look and see who they have to play throughout this 2026 season. It's pretty grueling. What if Alabama at the end of the year, when we're talking December, we're looking back at the entire SEC conference slate and we're seeing Alabama sitting below 10 wins? Is that automatic Hail Mary, hit the eject button on Kalen DeBoer? Or what does that mean for the Crimson Tide? For those faithful fans that in and out always love Alabama. Here's another hot take. Colorado wins more than 8 games in this 2026 season. Maybe they go into the Big 12 this year and they got something cooking with Julian Lewis, with Danny Scudero, with all the different guys that Prime has on the outside, on the inside. Maybe they even find themselves a running game. But the big hot take is Colorado wins 8 games or more in the 2026 season. I feel like Colorado got the most haters. I feel like when we talk Colorado, y'all hate on Deion more than y'all hate on the team. You know what I'm saying? Y'all hate to see Deion doing what he does, and I get it. Everybody not used to Deion talking his talk. But lately, he hasn't been walking his walk, right? Last year was not a good season. They had a lot of tough losses. Let's see what he does this year. What if? Remember, I'm not saying this is a prediction, but what if Colorado wins 8 games or more and gets into a really good bowl game? Oh, here's a big one. Here's a big one. Listen, I don't hide my affection for teams that I've rooted for my entire life. You know where I played at SMU. You also know that I grew up in South Florida. And listen, what if, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but what if Miami finally wins their first ACC title? I'm not even talking about championships right now, right? It's too early. A game hasn't been played, right? What if Miami, the Hurricanes, win their first unanimous ACC title? A lot of people don't even realize Miami did not win the ACC and got into the playoffs last year because they were a really good team. Miami has only played for the ACC title, I believe, 1 time, maybe 2 times in their entire tenure in the ACC. 20 plus, 30 plus years? It's time, Miami. But what if? We don't know because it's not a prediction. What if they win their first ACC title? Here's a really hot take. And listen, I'm going to tell you right out of the gate, I don't think this is going to happen. I don't think this is going to happen. Ain't no way. But what if Ohio State loses 3 games in the 2026 season for the first time and God knows when? I don't know when's the last time Ohio State has lost 3 games in the regular season. Okay, I had to ask Alexa. The last time Ohio State lost 3 games or more was in 1988. 1988. But look at this year's schedule for Ohio State. Not only do they play Texas, they also have to play Indiana. They also have to play Michigan, who I think is going to be much improved. What if we live in a world where this year Ohio State, for the first time since 1988, loses all 3 of those games? And don't say it's not a possibility. Texas is going to be really good this year. Indiana is Indiana. They got Kurt Signetti. And then Michigan with Kyle Whittingham will be much improved. But again, I don't see this happening. I think Ohio State is going to be a favorite to win the Big Ten and definitely get into the playoffs. I'm going to do a college football playoff prediction. Not today. Here's a super hot take. I'd be ecstatic if this happened. Again, this is another one. I don't really think it's going to happen, but who knows? What if SMU beats Notre Dame at Notre Dame in November? Listen, everyone is talking about this Notre Dame-Miami rematch that's at Notre Dame. Everyone and all this focuses on that game. What if Notre Dame does beat Miami? They're favored right now. They're favored by 7 points. What if they do beat Miami and then have a giant emotional letdown the very next week against the Mustangs against SMU? Listen, a lot of people are going to think this one is the most impossible not going to happen on this whole list of hot takes. Hey, don't count out Kevin Jennings. Don't count out Rhett Lashley. Don't count out them SMU Mustangs because they are really, really good in those games that they're not supposed to win. Just ask Clemson. Just ask TCU. Just ask different teams that have been on the other side thinking they're going to win against those new Mustangs, not the old ones, the new Mustangs. This one could get crazy if that happens, especially in that order. It'd be even crazier if Notre Dame is undefeated and then loses to Miami and then loses to SMU in consecutive weeks. And now we're in the same scenario as the hoopla and craziness of last year of do they get in or do they not? Hoo-wee! Boy, college football, if I predicted that just now, I don't know what to tell you. I hope not, but I do kind of hope it does. Who knows? We're going to see. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but what if it did? Here's a super hot take. What if Texas loses 5 games or more this year in the 2026 season? Listen, if you've seen some of my other videos, Texas is my preseason #1 team in the entire country. On paper, I feel like this team is dang near a super team. I don't like the word super team, but what Steve did in the portal, they really went and got some guys to show up and face this grueling schedule that they have to face. Texas plays 8 or 9 teams that are ranked in the top 25. This is a tough schedule. So before you say, oh, that's not possible, don't forget Texas has to play the Ohio States of the world, the Georgias, the LSUs, the Ole Misses. Texas has, in my opinion, probably the hardest schedule in the entire country. What if they lost 5 games? Oh, God. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Steve is too good of a head coach. I think they have too good of a scheme. I think Texas is still going to be one of my favorites to win the SEC title this year, but it's going to be tough for them. It's going to be dang tough for them out of conference and in conference. So what if they did lose those 5 games? Here's another good one out in the Big 12. What if Baylor, one of the Arizona, so Arizona or Arizona State, or Houston win the Big 12 title and get into the playoffs? Listen, everybody and their mama is talking about BYU. They're talking about Texas Tech. I feel like not a lot of people are really talking about Baylor or talking about Arizona and Noah Fafita and them guys, or about Arizona State or Houston and Willie Fritz. Listen, Houston already landed on my top 10 underrated teams. It's very possible. I feel like too many people are so in love with BYU and so in love with Texas Tech. Brendan Sorsby might not even play. We don't know. So there's a lot up in the air when we talk the Big 12. I think it's going to be another Big 12 year where the title race is wide open and anything can happen all the way to the final weeks of the regular season. I'm excited for it. This is a hot take, but who knows? We don't know what's going to happen. Okay, here's another one. What if we live in a world in 2026 where Iowa, University of Iowa, the Hawkeyes, yes, that Iowa, makes it to the Big 10 title game? Listen, before you say, hey, no way, this one's absolutely impossible. In my opinion, looking at their 2026 schedule, Iowa has 3 really hard games, right? Where they play Michigan, they play Ohio State, they play Washington. Yes, they play Nebraska and some other good teams in the Big 10, but when we talk about the Blue Bloods, when we talk about the teams that are already seen widely as the best teams in the Big 10, what if Iowa is able to somehow win 1 or 2 of these big games out of the 3, out of the Michigan, Ohio State, and Washington? If they're able to win 2 and maybe get some help from some of the other teams losing their difficult schedules, and now boom, Iowa is in the Big 10 title game. I think this is the most favorable schedule Iowa has had in a long time. So before you say, oh no, that's not going to happen, what if? What if it happens? Okay, and the final hot take, I honestly think this one is the most plausible to actually happen. But what if Georgia, them dogs, sorry, it gets into me every time. I couldn't stop myself. But what if them dogs have an undefeated season and get into the playoffs at 13-0? That's 12-0 in the regular season and win the SEC title. Listen, that would be a feat amongst feats, and they would absolutely need to be the number 1 team in the entire country if they go through Alabama, through LSU, through all these different teams, through Texas, through all these different teams that they would have to play in the regular season and in the SEC title and go undefeated. Kirby absolutely would ascend from the high level that he's already seen as top 3 coaches in all of college football. He's going to re-solidify himself, move over Kurt Signetti. You had a good year last year. It's still Georgia's time as the top coach in college football. Hey, listen, I love these types of hot takes. I hope you enjoyed it as well. We can't wait for this 2026 season to kick off. If you like this type of content, I need you to do me a favor. Please consider subscribing because we have more content just like this coming your way. Like this video, it definitely helps me, and I appreciate your watch. So remember, it's a new day, so that means it's a good day to talk college football. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Everybody knows Daniel Roundtree.